Will Manchester United play four at the back again? Obviously, that 4-4 thriller against Bournemouth. Dino, did you see what you expected, and what's the four at the back question all about?
Well, it's an interesting one because, again, obviously intimates that they've been doing it quite a lot. But what was interesting about the Bournemouth game was we saw a really, really adaptable Man United and a really exciting Man United going forward. And that was because they went for sort of a change up in formation during the game. It was around about the 60th minute that they actually went properly four at the back. But actually, when I was researching and watching back again, even more interestingly, they were flicking between the two formations as they went. So if they can do that and switch between the two and two formations in one, then they've really got something on their hands. So I'll explain that what they were doing so well. We've talked about it before with obviously this Amorim 3-4-3 here, right? Yeah. We know that now, or some people would call it a 3-4-2-1 because of the two players playing off the front.
Yeah.
But what they try to do and what they should be trying to do is overload. So then when they go forward, let's say they attack down one side, they'll push two players on there, the wing back pushes on, the midfielder pushes on, and then this centre back can come out and then they overload on this side, right? So that's the idea, that's the benefit of playing a 3-4-3. But what they've struggled to do, United, is transfer from attacking positions back into defensive ones and vice versa, and how they manipulate that formation. But on Monday night against Bournemouth, what we saw was Luke Shaw play much more like a centre-back. Diogo Dalot play on that side. We saw Lenny Yoro and Aidan Heaven. So Aidan Heaven came in as a centre-back and Lenny Yoro came in almost to make a back four. And then Amad Diallo was nominally the wing-back on the formation, but he was coming in there to defend. Obviously, your two centre midfielders there. And then it became this 4-4-2. And it was really quite impressive because what that meant is that then when they attacked, obviously Amad Diallo can get forward and they had Mbeumo and Cunha pushing forward. Mason Mount pushed up and Diogo Dalot was the extra one then who joined the attack. So he came and joined this attack to get that shape. And then, as we squeeze them up, we'll see there, that shape that I talk about all the time on tactics in an attacking sense is 3-2-5.
Yeah. And
they used it by adapting the 3-4-3 and 4-4-2 in between those two things. And I always go back to this Thomas Tuchel quote, which will be spoken about a lot with England over the summer. A formation is just a framework for then the team to work within, and that's what Tuchel says a lot. But United have really struggled, and it's looked like this very rigid 3-4-3. But then on Monday, even in the first half, it went back to in and out of a 4-4-2, 3-4-3.
So just describe then, Dino, because I've heard you talk, particularly about Arsenal, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, about how they sort of switch into a 4-4-2 at times during games as well, normally when they're pressing.
Yeah, that's United. That's an Arsenal press. Yeah, absolutely. But what Man United did very, very well was they overloaded Bournemouth in those areas, and so
in what areas?
In the attacking areas. Right. So all of a sudden, Bournemouth, so they look so good, United, getting into attacking positions again. And then also, when you get into this attacking shape like this,
yep,
and you know you've got a player out there, you're going to get somebody on the left side of midfield or the left side of defence get dragged across. And so in this instance, it was for Bournemouth, it was the left side. And what happened then was Bruno Fernandes got himself into these areas here on the right-hand side, and Mbeumo gets right into the box, Amad gets right into the box, and all of a sudden, United were crashing the box with 5 players, and Bruno's feeding them from there. And we haven't seen enough of that. I mean, we go back to the Everton game where United had 70% possession and could not break Everton down. And Bruno is passing the ball sideways and backwards. In this game, he's feeding the ball into the box. He's picking the ball up in between the lines. Because what United have done is freed up the fullbacks, but still been secure here. So they end up with 3 at the back, but then they go into a defensive position. Dalot moves back in here. Yoro moves across. Amad Diallo doesn't have to come back and do as much defensive unit, but he did drop in front of him. the midfielders drop in, Mount works very hard and gets in there, and they got into a 4-4 defensive shape in that as well. So it was 3 at the back attacking and 4 at the back defending, which means they're overloading in both directions. If they can do that more consistently with that attacking lineup that they've got, it's really dangerous.
Well, question number 2 then, Dino. Should Kobbie Mainoo start?
Yeah, it's distances that there's been the thing for Amorim. So the distances in midfield has been a problem, and he hasn't so far wanted or favoured Kobbie Mainoo in travelling those large distances in the midfield.
When you say distances, mate, you mean ground covered?
Exactly, yeah. So if we just reset them into that, 3-4-3 that everyone sees, you'd see here that you've got 2 midfield players and a huge amount of space.
Yep.
And that's been an issue, especially when we know that Bruno Fernandes goes off wandering and goes into all different areas. So if Bruno does go and join that attacking 3 to make it a 4, then you've got a midfielder here who's covering an absolutely enormous amount of space.
Yep.
And Amorim clearly hasn't fancied Kobbie Mainoo to do that job and cover those distances. And it's slightly unfair, I think, but Casemiro has done a very good defensive job, but we saw straight away in that Bournemouth game on Monday night the value of Kobbie Mainoo when he came on. Right. But again, perhaps that is down to the formation switch. Because if we just, let's move them into a 4-4-2 now, or a 4-2-3-1, and what you can see is that then you could have Bruno Fernandes here as the number 10.
Yep.
Sesko up front, maybe Mason Mount one side, Cunha the other, and then you're thinking, well, that's good, because if your left back or right back bombs forward, and then you form that 5-man attacking shape again, and then you're in that 3-2-5 that we talk about again. And that's then your 2 midfielders not having to cover as much ground. And not only that, you've got a Kobbie Mainoo in there who is capable of drifting past these players in midfield and firing those passes into feet, which we saw straight away against Bournemouth. There was a different dynamic to their attack with Kobbie Mainoo on that Casemiro doesn't bring. Should he start? I think a lot of that depends on if Amorim decides to go for it at the back at the beginning. You could end up with that very attacking front 5 and still have the protection of those 2 if you went that way.
But what do you think then, Dino? Do you think, obviously we sort of covered it, how he sets up in 3-4-3 and then shifts to that during the game, that 4-4-2. You'd be surprised, surely, to see him set up with a 4-4-2 from the off? Yeah,
I would be surprised, yeah. And I don't think he will. I think he'll... I would imagine he'll start with his favoured formation that they've been playing, and then he knows he's got that option, as the Bournemouth game proved, to go into it. But, they're playing against a really, really informed Aston Villa side, right. And Aston Villa will be looking for the little, chinks in the armour there of United and where they can play out. And the way that I've set that up there is a really good example of where you can get at United in transition, right? So I haven't touched that Villa formation yet, but the way that the United is set up, that space there and that space there is the ones where if Villa can hold their line here, win the ball back, that's where, and if you watched Monday's show, then you'll have seen that's the areas that Aston Villa will attack to try and go at United. So Villa start with wingers out there, Morgan Rogers probably, McGinn there possibly, and then Tielemans playing in here with that very strong box that Villa have there, which we referred to in Tactics Exposed.
Yep.
But what they then do when they win possession, Villa, is the centre forward goes on, and these guys go in here, and then the fullbacks push on. Right. So then again, you're thinking, is this his man or is this his man? There's indecision there for United in that shape of where they go. So I fancy them to play 3, but with a more defensive left wing back, if you like, so that Yoro moves across, if it's Heaven again, and then Luke Shaw, and then Dalot comes back in to make the 4. So it's a 3 at the back that becomes a 4 with a more defensive wing back.
So back to the question then, yes or no, before we move to question 3. Kobbie Mainoo, does he start?
I think he should start.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Right.
Hi, Ruben. You've got Casemiro out, you've got the lads that have gone to the Africa Cup of Nations. Is there anybody else unavailable for Sunday?
No, I think everyone is well. We have one more training, but today I think the rest of the guys are ready to go.
Does that mean De Ligt and Maguire could feature?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying that Nobody recover, nobody's out, just the guys that you already know.
You've been asked a lot about Kobbie Mainoo in recent press conferences. It's kind of unavoidable to not ask you again in the wake of his half-brother wearing a free Kobbie Mainoo t-shirt. Did you see that? Have you spoken to Kobbie about it?
No, it was not Kobbie that wear the t-shirt. He's not going to start because of the t-shirt, but he's not going to the bench because of the t-shirt. He's going to play if we feel that he's the right guy to play. So that is not an issue. I'm used to. I'm here for a year. It's not new, so we have to deal with that. But I'm not going to do something to Kobbie because someone on his family is doing something. It's going to be the same. If he's the right guy to play, he's going to play.
Hi, Ruben. In terms of this game, Villa obviously won, I think, 9 on the bounce, 15 out of 17. Do you think they are genuine Premier League title contenders?
Yeah, everything can happen. I think they have a manager with a lot of experience. You can see when you watch Villa play, you can sense that he's a very mature team. Understands that he doesn't panic when he's losing. He doesn't feel overwhelmed when he's winning. He can control the emotion all the time, and I think they are a very strong team. If they are going to fight until the end, I don't know, but they are capable of that.
In terms of United, at the moment, only City, I think, have scored more goals. You probably conceded more than you wanted to. How do you find the balance between attack and defence?
We watched the game again against Bournemouth. We can avoid that goals. Was a lot of transition. We have to put everything on the line when we are defending, and sometimes we are not doing that. We need to work on some details to suffer less goals, because in the end it's going to make the difference.
Afternoon, Ruben. Not to go back to Kobbie, but have you had conversations with him about this situation, and how has he been this week? Because it comes off the back of him actually playing the most minutes he has in recent weeks.
And he played really well, so that is the important thing. And then my office is always open. Nobody went there this week, so I think everything is normal. We are ready to go to Villa.
And you talked about being at the club for a year and having to deal with situations like this. I mean, how have you found that off the back of also this week? Bruno's interview from a few weeks ago came out with some quotes. I know he did another interview with the club as well, with Rio Ferdinand, but it's just another situation that I suppose you have to deal with.
The difference is that he spoke with the club before that interview, and he said what is feeling. Of course, we can avoid these things because we already know the noise, but he talked with the board, and I think everything is clear.
One of the things that he did say in the interview that he did with the Portuguese Federation was that he didn't think that everybody defended the club the way that he does, that almost as though some people don't care as much as he does. Is that fair, do you think?
I don't know, it's fair. He just spoke about what is his feelings, and he needs to answer to that. It's not me. I think he is an example that he gives everything. He puts everything on the line in every training, in every match. In that department is special. So I think he has that feeling. We need to step up and to have also that feeling. So we need to ask him, because I think he's a big example in the group.
I mean, because he's the captain, he's the biggest person in the dressing room. It would be a concern if that was really what he felt.
He spoke his feelings, and I think when I watch Bruno training and playing, he's a special character. And I think the numbers, the amount of games, everything prove that is a different player.
Hi Ruben, when we saw you in the summer in Chicago, you talked about organising a leadership group, because there were things last season that ended up on your desk that perhaps you didn't want to end up on your desk, that they could just be solved in the dressing room. Is this issue with Kobbie one of those things that you don't necessarily have to get involved, but maybe the leadership group pull into one side and just say, look, like...
No, it's continue a little bit everything on my desk. Every problem in our football club is still me that has to deal with that, but this will take time. But again, my door is always open, and there was not Kobbie. The job of Kobbie is to train and to play. I felt that he did really well this game. So that is the most important thing for me. If he has to play, he's going to play. If he's not going to play, he's not going to play.
I don't know if you saw Chido Obi and Harry Amas post on social media. I mean, what do you make of that? It seems quite petty.
I think it's the feeling, a little bit the feeling of entitlement that we have in our club. And sometimes strong words is not bad words. Sometimes difficult moments is not the bad things for the kids. We don't need to be always with accolades in everything, in every situation. We are not helping. That's why you guys talk about a lot of players nowadays that they speak and they go against the clubs and everything happened because they feel entitlement. And then you have legends of the club saying that if you don't play, leave because everyone is wrong. No, let's think about, let's stay, let's fight, let's overcome. Maybe the manager is wrong. So I have that feeling all the time that we need to fight against this feeling. And again, sometimes I'm the first one to say that I'm failing this club inside the pitch. I have that feeling. We are not performing the way we should be. But outside the pitch, I guarantee you I'm not failing to this club. So I think it's something in our club, and we talk about the players sometimes forget about what it means to play for Manchester United. We as a club sometimes forget who we are, and that's the feeling that I have. So I understand everything. Is the environment, is the moment of the players, the kids. They feel entitled. They feel free to respond the manager with a picture. My office is open. Nobody is coming to talk to me, and that is the way we can solve things. So I think we need to change first as a club, and then everything is going to change.
So would you appreciate it if they actually did come in to you and seek an explanation rather than going on Instagram?
Everything. But I didn't say nothing wrong. I just spoke about how the luck of playing for Manchester United. And sometimes you play for Manchester United and you go see a different realities and you understand that football can be so different and that you are really lucky to be in Manchester United. That was my point. But again, let's move on. And with the time that I think these things will change.
Ruben, just following on from Rob and Samuel's point, I think a lot of fans would completely agree with you on those points. Are you surprised? You said a lot still coming onto your desk. Are you saying that you'd hope that maybe the leadership team, some of the senior players, would take a bit more responsibility at this stage for some of those things? And also, could have just asked, Sir Alex Ferguson's done an interview in Bahrain, and he said it's not easy what you are facing. He likened it to what Liverpool faced. They won the title in 1990, and then they went 30 years before they won it again. He's saying it could be another 10 or 11 years before United win this title. I just wondered what you thought about that as well.
He understands football more than me, especially English football. I think we are not take that long to win a league, and I don't know which manager is going to be here. But I truly believe that we can fight for the title in the next years, and I think it's not going to take so many years. But you never know. In relation to leadership, it's the moment of the club, and you have to fight all the fights here inside, and I'm here to do that. So until I'm here, I will fight. I will not back down, and I have to solve everything.
You can't do everything though, Ruben. Like you are going to need players to pull other players into line at times. Surely you're going to need that dressing room to help police itself.
We are improving as a team. We are improving as a group, and we are going to improve in these small things that will make difference even to suffer goals. If we are a different group, we are going to suffer less goals, but we are scoring more. So let's think about the positives and think about the Villa game.
Manchester United face a tough test against Aston Villa, a team known for high intensity, quick transitions, and strong midfield runners. For United to win this game, tactical discipline and smart use of space will be crucial. One key talking point is the recent formation changes under Ruben Amorim. Traditionally linked with a back three system, Amorim has shown flexibility, switching between a back three and a back four depending on the opponent. Against Villa, this adaptability could be vital. A back four with a compact midfield can help United close the gaps Villa love to exploit, especially during counterattacks. Midfield control will decide the game. United must stay compact, win second balls, and deny Villa time to turn and run. A balanced midfield setup allows creative players to focus on chance creation rather than constant defensive recovery. However, formation alone will not win the match. Manchester United must be more clinical in front of goal and avoid simple defensive mistakes. Villa are ruthless when given chances. In conclusion, Amorim's tactical changes can help United, but only if the players execute the plan with discipline, intensity, and confidence.